Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, the opinions expressed in this video are my own and should not under any circumstances be taken as legal, tax and or investment advice. It is always imperative to do your own research, even especially in cryptocurrencies, as we know that this is not even probably could be is an incredibly volatile asset class. Without further ado, we are going to talk about Ripple, the company, / XRP, and the way I see this, or them, or the entity, or the XRP token developing in the year 2019. Please be aware that this is an opinion piece, if you kind of want to call that an opinion video. Everything said here is my own opinion, unless I'm showing you something on the screen, or for those who are listening, I will be reading out certain things and you will kind of get the main gist of what I'm talking about. As far as the opinion part, it's my opinion on what I think is going to happen in 2019. So without further ado, we're going to go a bit from, I want to say, like the past, the current state of affairs, and then where I think things are going to go in 2019. So pretty much this has been a very busy year, despite prices completely crumbling. There was a point where I wouldn't have even said the C word, but prices have completely crumbled. They have fallen apart. And luckily for us, this has been a very big year as far as building up of infrastructure. One of the main problems that we had in 2017 was that we had all the hype and all the attention, but the infrastructure just simply wasn't there. It's very difficult to get like on-ramps to be able to buy cryptocurrencies, to be able to sell your cryptocurrencies. And also we didn't have a huge amount of, what's it called? Like confirmed partnerships, I will say. And this was one of the most speculative things, is that in 2016 and 17, it was constantly said, especially if we are on the topic of Ripple / XRP, that the partnerships simply weren't there. Who is using this? Who is going to use this? Why would anybody want to use this? We have no confirmation of any companies who are going to use anything that the Ripple company has kind of released. So even just to begin it, the Ripple team has been very successful in being able to, I want to say, corner a large amount of the traditional financial world, and this is one of the main things, or one of the main arguments against the XRP token. It was that nobody was using it, nobody was going to use it, and I'll kind of get into that a bit later, as far as even companies just using the XCurrent platform, and what Ripple's plan, or what is believed to be part of Ripple's plan, and how they're going to further develop that into 2019. So first up is like I said, it's going to be like a bit of a rundown, so everyone can kind of get the context of where I'm going to end. And the first part is pretty much going to be, I want to say, adoption. So we have American Express, who is a Ripple client. On top of this as well, we have had an enormous amount of cryptocurrency exchanges who have started listing XRP as a base pair on their exchanges. This was something that was very, very problematic last year, simply because a large amount of the marketplace focused on the fact that XRP was not on pretty much the only exchange that we had last year, and that is pretty much Coinbase. Since then, about, I want to say 4, 5, 6 other cryptocurrency exchanges around the world have launched, and they are either on the cusp of being or are already larger than Coinbase. And this is why the listing of XRP as a base pair on multiple other exchanges, which is something that we've been asking for quite a long time. This was something that we, or people in the XRP community, I am one of them, if you did not know, bellowed about for quite some time, simply because it was seemingly a little bit unfair that we had so many other coins being listed as fiat pairs, as base pairs, especially when nobody was actually even using the token. So on top of, so we have that being added to that base pair. We also have rundown. I'm going to go try and run through this. COS has added XRP as a base pair. XRP was also added as a base pair on Coinfield Exchange, which was pretty big news, because for the most part of 2017, and I've spoken with a couple of other people as well, and I think everyone kind of came to the consensus that while Coinbase might be one of the largerest exchanges that we have in the world right now, they didn't do a very good job. Or rather, and to be fair, they didn't do very well when it came to the bull market that we had last year, simply because there just wasn't enough infrastructure for everyone to kind of be able to do what they wanted to do with cryptocurrencies, especially when it came to being able to buy, sell, and trade. So this year, as prices have gone down, we have been lucky enough to see an explosion of other cryptocurrency exchanges who have launched and have also announced that they're not only going to be adding XRP, and they're also going to be adding it as a base pair. Part of the other issue that we had last year was that Bitcoin had a huge amount of the attention in the cryptocurrency space, simply because, for those who may be relatively new to the cryptocurrency space, if you ever wanted to buy or pretty much sell out of cryptocurrencies, you typically last year had to do this through Bitcoins. Even if you wanted some Ethereum, even if you wanted some Neo or anything else that was on the market, you had to first buy Bitcoin, and then you had to transfer it into so-and-so, and you had to transfer it into this, and then you had to blah, 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 and this. And if you wanted to cash out, you kind of had to go through the same exact route and get back into Bitcoin to be able to sell it on other major exchanges. But as of right now, we've been fortunate, and I think this is part of the reason why I think, I don't want to say like underestimated. A lot of people don't, and this is why it's always good to do your own research. It's very important to look back towards the past to see exactly where we could be going in the future. Keeping in mind, as a quick history lesson, the XRP token hit, it was $3.60 last year when we had the run-up of the bull market. And this plays a huge part in the reason why I am so bullish on the actual price of XRP. I said it before for other videos and for other coins. If it is possible for us as a community, and it's constantly said that it was just the retail investors, those are everyday normal people. For those who don't understand what retail means, it's just everyday normal people who aren't millionaires, who got the price of Bitcoin up to $20,000 and subsequently got the price of XRP up to $3.20, 60 cents before we had all of this going on. For me, in my eyes, it's fairly certain that XRP is probably going to exceed the 360 that we had before. On top of, so that was rambling along. R3 announced a couple of weeks ago, I want to say at this point, that it was adding XRP as a base currency to their platform as well. This is already another thing. We also had news that Bittrex, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the entire world, was also going to have XRP as its, I think, base currency as well, or they would have it as like the coin that you had to swap out from other coins into. I think they partnered directly, here we go, with the actual Ripple team, which was also very significant news. A large part of the news that I'm going to be going through is actually time sensitive isn't the thing that I'm looking for. It's like time fragile isn't it either. The news, you may notice on a couple of the articles when they're dated, it was believed throughout a large portion of 2018 that the bear market that we had, i.e. where prices were going down, would not have lasted or should not have lasted or was going to end sometime around summertime. So we had a situation where not only were we not receiving cryptocurrency information from different platforms for a large part of the beginning of the year, simply because if you release good news during a bad market, it'll kind of be absorbed. No one will really pay attention to it. And therefore, this is why you may notice there are a lot of tabs up here. So I have to kind of fly through them because Ripple, the company, and the token XRP, for what it's worth, have had an incredibly good year. They've been lambasted a bit on certain sides where people are talking about, well, why isn't your coin going up? The same exact thing can be said for about 99% of the rest of the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin has had an amazing year when it comes to news, and lo and behold, the price is also down the same as every other cryptocurrency. So I believe that a large portion of this news will end up translating into gains in the year 2019. We also had news that Via Americas is also going to be using the XRP token on the XRapid product. A large part of what we've seen in 2018, and I'm actually very grateful for this, it seems that the Ripple team has realized that not only can you reel in larger companies like American Express and stuff like that, but it's also very important to be able to get the attention of, or kind of reel in and also have use your token, smaller companies that many people may not have heard of. When it comes to the point of Ripple, the company, and the XRP token, it comes down to the fact that they are trying to more or less release money that's locked up in accounts if you're trying to send money around the world. The easiest way to explain this is pretty much if I'm trying to send money from Thailand to Zimbabwe, I need to have, as someone in Thailand, or rather, if I'm the payment service, I need to have Zimbabwean dollars, I think that's what they're called, in reserve in order to be able to transfer this money back and forth, and vice versa. This is why sometimes you may notice when you're trying to send money, even just normally through like a normal bank transfer, it may take 2 to 5 business days. And sometimes if you were trying to send money across countries that may not have the most liquid, or rather like the easiest liquidity when it comes to their currency, why it may take a bit longer, or while sometimes your bank may say, hey, we're actually going to take a 15 to 20% charge for the money that you're trying to send to your family members, simply because they're greedy, but also because this is kind of how the market works, and people haven't been able to express their anger against this because this was the only thing that we pretty much had to, like, we had to use this system before. This is kind of how things were. So when it comes to, I'm not sure if Via Americas is actually the specific one, but we've had a lot of pairings between, I'm pretty sure it's like Thailand and Mexico in the UK, and many other countries that have, like, these companies who are doing money transfers between these countries who have announced that they're going to be using the XRP token as a payment back and forth. So already from the good news that we've had from the Ripple team is also that the fact, and I think this is very intelligent, that they've been making sure to kind of absorb smaller companies into them as well, to be able to make sure that they have an increased amount of liquidity, because the point is, if major banks are going to be using the XRP token in the future, why not also bring in, I can't call them like a small company. I'm not exactly sure exactly how much money that even passes through them, so I don't want to down talk them and say that they're a tiny company. The point is, you bring in the other people into your circle, and you pretty much increase the liquidity even more, as we could potentially have, you know, an extra $25-50 million passing through on a weekly basis from these other companies who are also announcing that they are going to be using the XRP token. On top of that as well, this is still, at least at the time of me making this video, still a discussion that is floating around if or when Binance will announce XRP as a base pair. At the time of me making this video, XRP is still the number 2 coin in the cryptocurrency space. It has been for a couple of weeks, maybe over a month and some change by now. And a lot of people are, I want to say, crying foul. That's kind of the easiest way to say it. Binance has listed previously Bitcoin, obviously, and Ethereum as base pairs on their platform, especially when Ethereum was the number 2 coin. And now that XRP is a number 2 coin, people are saying, what's the problem? Why won't you list it as your base pair? Apparently this is I can assume, and I will give you, I guess, my first prediction for 2019 for XRP. I'm going to say the guy who runs Binance, his name is Changpeng Zhao. He seems like an incredibly nice person. I know a couple of people who also know him personally, and apparently he's a very nice guy. He means business as well, and I'm pretty sure that he sees the business prospects of XRP being listed on Binance as an actual base pair, which would be fantastic. I can't understate, even for half a second, how monumentally amazing that would actually be. The XRP token, even just the other tabs that I was kind of going through, we have confirmation that these other companies and other institutions and other, whatever you want to call them, are already going to be using the XRP token. If we get news or confirmation that Binance, pretty much the largest cryptocurrency exchange we have in the entire planet right now, is going to list XRP as a base pair, this is another reason why I'm particularly, one might say, bullish on the price of XRP. I think 360 is going to be an actual drop in the bucket of what XRP is going to be worth. Once again, my opinions, me, myself, I, this is an opinion video. I have to keep repeating this because I want people to actually make sure that they do their own research. I think it's important. If you are putting your money into something, especially into cryptocurrencies, I believe it is imperative to know exactly what you are putting your money into, or at least have a general better understanding, because should, heaven forbid, prices end up going back down after you've put your money into something, you need to understand, or yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, you need to understand what you're putting your money into, because there is always a risk of prices dropping further from what you have put your money into. It is very important. But Binance is a huge, that would be, I think, in a certain way, Binance adding XRP as a base pair would probably have a bit more weight to it than maybe even the entire Coinbase fiasco. Once again, depending on the time of year that you are watching this video, a lot of this might be outdated. I want to believe that logically the crypto market should be potentially, hopefully, back in full swing by the time we end up the middle of 2019, simply because of all the good news that we've been having. XRapid has also announced that they're going to be using XRapid, and therefore using the XRP token as well. Just a little side thing for those who don't know. If you go onto Ripple's page, and there's I don't remember exactly where it is. It's somewhere around here. You can actually find all the customers and or partners, and this actually isn't even all of them, who are actually using Ripple's technology, and why it's actually so important. A lot of people don't realize exactly how many partners that they actually have, and this isn't even all of them. I think they maybe just use like some of the prettier icons, because there are actually other lists out there where it has like the full rundown of everyone who they're using, but I didn't feel like scrolling through like 300 partners. My fingers would be tired of scrolling. Anyway, the point is, they've made an enormous amount of progress this year alone, with the amount of people who have jumped onto their platform, the amount of people who are talking about that they are going to be using their products. And it's something quite significant, because once again, this all does tie into the future of the XRP token, because a lot of the companies who are even going to be using XCurrent are more than likely, probably at some point, going to be using XRapid. This also ties into this part. Earlier this year, once again, that August timeframe, like the other one that I was reading, at the beginning of August, we had a very good stint. Is that the word? We had a very good time, because everyone believed that September prices would be rising in 2018. They did not, for those who didn't realize. But a lot of good news started coming from the Ripple team, and something that was teased was something called convergence. And it was the idea, or what people came to believe, that actually kind of ended up coming together, was the merging of three products that the Ripple team had for quite some time, and they were called XCurrent, XRapid, and XVIA. The main thing, or that a lot of other larger banks have been using, is XCurrent, but a lot of people, for those, this is why I always say, do your own research. I really couldn't fit anything more inside here. I promise you, like, my computer was going completely insane. As far as like being able to provide extra information, please do your own research. A lot of the companies who are using XCurrent, they are not locked out from using the XRP token, and it is widely believed that a large number of the companies using XCurrent right now are eventually either going to switch to XRapid or simply allow XRP transactions to flow through them as well. If you actually look on the ripple.com website, this is where it used to say XRapid, XVIA, and XCurrent, and this is simply now all merged into RippleNet. So the idea is that you will either you will either be able to use XRP, or rather, how do I say this? It's believed that the point of all of this, of them simply changing the three products into something called RippleNet, is that they will make it so that the three products merged together into RippleNet will simply have to use XRP. This is kind of the idea behind it. We haven't received, and I want to say like 1,000% confirmation, but there's been a huge shift that you can tell if you look at the evolution of the actual Ripple.com website, and you can see how their website has kind of changed a little bit, and how they've made sure that RippleNet is like one of their priorities, and also that XRP is now at the forefront of what they're trying to do. Just even remembering it right now, like I said, I couldn't fit any more tabs up here. They've made such a huge push as far as like the other things that they're trying to do. I'm pretty sure I missed it in this video. The thing that they're doing with Codius, the other smart contract platforms, the other things that they actually have running on XRP, the thing that the Ripple team also did earlier this year, where they, I think they're paying, or they gave like a couple $2 million to developers out there to find different use cases for the XRP token, and to like develop apps that are going to be specific for XRP. Keeping in mind, once again, that we had a crazy market in 2017, prices went completely insane, and this was before all of this happened. This is all news from mid to end where we are right now, 2018. You have to understand that when you have built up so much infrastructure around something, that it's probably going to do logically a lot better than it did last time, especially at the time of me making this video with the prices where we have right now. The prices are, in my opinion, incredibly depressed. They are completely oversold. I think people are selling because they see other people sell. I think there's a lot of panic selling going on because other people don't understand the exact future prospects of where a lot of this stuff is going. This is, once again, my opinion of exactly what's going on. QUALX is another, I believe they are Mexico to the US as far as the Mexican peso and the US dollar. They have also announced that they're also going to be using XRP as their currency to be able to do cross-border transfers. This is also incredibly important. I want to say QUALX is a bank. I want to say that. I know they released something earlier this year, I guess, or a couple of months ago, called the QUALX, which is the QUALX wallet, which is also being used for XRP as well. So you're kind of seeing the pattern here. I think it's very easy to lose news, if I can say that, as time goes on. A lot of the negative news, rather a lot of the great news that we've gotten has been completely absorbed by the prices going down. It's been a very tough year. I can't really even lie. It's been tough for everyone. I have also experienced losses. People were asking me if what had I done? I'm a holder. I don't sell. I don't believe in selling. I believe, in my opinion, in the very, very, very long-term prospects of the cryptocurrency market. I'm in this for the long term. If you've seen my other videos where I talk about exactly what's happening in the financial world as far as like stocks not doing too well, people talking about rising interest rates, and also just the rhetoric, I kind of want to say, that's floating around where major institutional investors are either leaving Wall Street or they're now talking about that crypto is going to be the stock market 2.0. These are clear indications for me where things are going, especially for the XRP token, when we see so much support being built around it. And I really, there's at least 15 things that I forgot to put into this video. I was searching for as many things as I possibly could, but there was so much good news for it. And I think, and I'll address this in this video as well, how many people still made sure throughout the entirety of 2018 to talk negatively about the XRP token, about the Ripple team, and about how no one was going to be using the XRP cryptocurrency for anything, and it was never going to happen. Every single time that we had some type of news like this, the major institutions are going to be using the XRP token, especially this is once again during a depressed market that we have news that all of these companies are going to be using it. At some point when prices would go down, we still had tons of people who were talking about, yeah, that's because no one's using it. And it's like, whatever. I'm going to be friendly in this video. The point is, we have an enormous amount of entities who are talking about using it. SBI Virtual Currencies is a cryptocurrency exchange that is still yet to launch. And this comes from SBI being one of the largest banks in Japan. They formed a partnership with Ripple, I believe, in 2017, I want to say, and they announced, SBI, the bank, announced that they were going to launch a cryptocurrency exchange called SBI Virtual Currencies, and I think they tried to soft launch maybe twice, and every single time, this was once again when they did try to, I think, finally activate this thing or get things going. I think it was the beginning or middle of July of this year. Once again, the time frame where everybody thought that by September the prices would be going back up. The guy who actually, I want to say the CEO, his name is Yoshitaka Katao. I feel like I butchered that. He is incredibly bullish on the XRP token, and it was rumored for quite some time that he could potentially have a couple 100 million of them, or maybe even 1 billion of them. Don't quote me on that number at all. We've had a lot of other speculation about how many people own a huge amount of XRP because they got in very early. But the point is that there is a major Japanese bank who has announced that they're creating a cryptocurrency exchange where XRP is so it's going to be the base pair once again on the platform. And when they announced that they were going to be doing this, it was that XRP was going to be the exclusive token that they were going to have at launch. And I think around the July time frame, somewhere around there, this is when they announced that pretty much XRP is going to be the thing that you have to enter into in order to get the other cryptocurrencies. Once again, increasing the amount of liquidity, keeping in mind, just throwing this out there, that XRP hit $3.60 before it was even listed on major cryptocurrency exchanges. Just throwing that out there. It's very important to understand that just based off of market hype alone of the entire market going up, we hit $3.60. So imagine when everything that I just told you about over here, just some of these things, and there's still 15 tabs missing, what's going to happen when we finally have very easy pathways to be able to buy XRP and to get into the XRP market, and other coins, when you are swapping back and forth between them, must flow through XRP, because this is once again another reason why Bitcoin had an enormous amount of volume in it in 2017, because other coins pretty much had to flow through it. That was kind of how things worked out. So this also must be addressed. This is also the current time frame, if you will, for the Ripple team. For those who are unaware, for those who may be new, for those who are trying to figure out what a Ripple or an XRP is during the end of 2018 or 2019, we have had a situation during the 2018 period where it says right here, where many cryptocurrency companies, entities, Ripple is not the only one, they've been hit by lawsuits. And one of the main, or rather there was one, and then I think eventually there were four, they were hit with a class action lawsuit claiming that the Ripple company has been running a never-ending ICO. For those who do not know what an ICO is, it's an initial coin offering, and it's pretty much if you are a company that is trying to go public on the stock market, you would run an IPO, and in the cryptocurrency space, you would run an ICO. That's the easiest way to kind of say it. And these lawsuits were claiming, unless you've been in crypto for some time, this will make sense to you. If you are not, this will go completely over your head. The point is that the people were claiming during the class action lawsuit that the Ripple company had created XRP out of thin air and had sold it as an unregistered security. A security is pretty much something that you would find on the stock market. This person and other people ended up saying that they were running a never-ending fundraising thing over the course of a 4 or 5 year period to create XRP tokens. What ended up happening was that 3 of the actual lawsuits were completely dropped because they were ridiculous. People were saying that they bought into the XRP token because they wanted to make money. Their prices dropped and they lost $50, and therefore they decided to sue the Ripple company. What we have right now, and this ties exactly into 2019, is that the people who actually take care of registered securities, that it says right here, they're an organization called the SEC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission. They are the governing force pretty much for economics in the United States. If you haven't noticed this year, the word SEC was said 48 quintillion times, and the SEC has yet to actually say if Ripple is a security or not, i.e. if they are something that can be listed on the stock exchange or if they must be ruled over by the SEC. The latest lawsuit that they have against them has been moved to a federal court, and in 2019 it is believed, do not quote me on this, I am not a Ripple employee, I am not part of any of these lawsuits, I am not a judge, I can't tell you. It's believed that this will finally be smoothed out. The other 3 cases were dismissed because we know at this point logically that XRP is not a security, and the reason they believe, or other people are thinking, that the Ripple team has bought the 4th and hopefully final lawsuit to a federal court is that when that judge bangs his gavel at the very end, it'll either be for if XRP is something that is a security and is going to be listed on the stock exchange, or if this entire thing has just been one gigantic farce. But this is expected to be the precedent for what the Ripple team needs, and this is why it's believed that they bought the court case to the federal judge, because when we have this saying, it'll be pretty much confirmed either a yay or a nay, and this is what the Ripple team pretty much needs in order to be able to move forward, because we've had a lot of other entities, I kind of want to say, who have said before in the past that they could not or cannot list the XRP token because they did not know if the Ripple team had released something that was not compliant with US law. That is kind of the easiest way of saying it. I believe if the other 3 were thrown out, if they started the other 3 lawsuits started in 2018, the beginning area time, they were thrown out by the end of summer, and the last one I assume should logically be smoothed out and or finished by the end of, or not even, I want to say it should be done March, April, May, June of 2019. And I think, if you want my honest opinion on this, as this is my prediction, if you listen to other people on podcasts or other economists who are not afraid of the XRP token, who are okay with investing in something that banks that we know now are going to use, it kind of comes down to if XRP is listed a security, it logically just then means that it can be legally listed on the stock exchange and be traded as a stock. And people expect the price to go down and then kind of go back up, because one of the largest cryptocurrency companies in the entire world, who has multiple bases and multiple offices all around the world, who is in cahoots pretty much with the World Bank ? And also with the Federal Reserve, the people who print money in America, they're pretty much then going to be legally allowed to be bought and sold and traded on the stock exchanges around the world. And if not, the price is also still expected to go up. There isn't really, my opinion as well, when you look around for the information. I've been into XRP for quite some time, and the Ripple team, I like what they do. It appears that whether they are security or not, it will not have a major long-term effect on their price. The people who will end up selling off their tokens, if it is a security, are people who don't understand traditional finance. And the people who will be buying it up as prices are falling down are the people who do understand exactly what a security is, especially because if the XRP token is, in fact, a security, it means that you own a portion of the Ripple company, and you will be, in a way, obligated to receive dividends, and pretty much that means that the Ripple company will have to pay you every 3 to 4 months for holding their token. Either way, in my opinion, it's a win-win. Let's move on to that. So when you look at, I guess this is kind of the 2019. For those who don't know this guy right here, his name is Brad Garlinghouse. He is the CEO of Ripple, the company, and he has announced, this was earlier this year, this was, once again, that same exact time frame. I mean, it was such a really weird year. Not to segue, everyone was very hyped. For those who weren't here, the summer was very nice. Not only were there excruciatingly warm temperatures, but everyone believed that by the end of the summer, we would have a bit of relief, not only from the heat, but also from this entire situation of the market going down. The Ripple team announced that they wouldn't be releasing a large amount of information until they had over 200 partnerships, and I'm pretty sure that also tied into the fact that not many other cryptocurrency anything wanted to release any type of information on their future projects or products or partnerships until the bear market was almost over. Once again, same time frame, everybody thought that the markets were going to go back up. We had news from the Ripple CEO, once again, Brad Garlinghouse, that dozens of banks would be using XRapid and therefore XRP, the cryptocurrency, in their products by the end of 2019. There's no exact time frame. When this actually ended up happening, there was like a huge little pump in the price, because the confirmation that we had before, at least from other months, were that we were going to have many other smaller institutions, but still relevant, who were going to be using the XRP token and or adding XRP as a base pair onto their cryptocurrency platforms. That is one that's already incredibly, when we do have at some point, in my opinion, another bull run, i.e. when prices are going back up, one can safely assume that if we hit those prices in 2017, that logically, as being a base pair on at least 5, 6, 7 other cryptocurrency exchanges, and also multiple companies around the world using your token, that we are probably going to surpass those numbers. So when we had the CEO of Ripple say that he wasn't going to give us any more information until they had passed 200 banking partnerships, and then he comes out with the news saying that dozens of banks would be using XRP in 2019, that was a cause for celebration. Once again, there are tons of people who, I guess, somewhere in their hearts, they just choose not to believe that XRP is going anywhere. Quick hello to all the people who write in my comment section that XRP is going to be a cent when the bull market actually returns. I would say I would make a bet with you, but I'm pretty sure. First of all, I want to say I don't gamble, but crypto is kind of gambling. Anyway, the point is, it'll be a very interesting day regardless when it does end up happening. Still no confirmation on the exact banks in question, but the fact that there is an S here is usually probably very good news. Like, he didn't say a dozen, he said dozens. I'm going to go in the safe direction and say, even if it's just 24 banks who are going to be using XRP, well, there we go. If it's 36 or any more than that, I think the future price of XRP is probably going to be quite golden, at least in my opinion. On top of this as well, a couple of elephants in the room that we actually have to address is that one of the leading cryptocurrency market transactor exchanges in the world, known as Coinbase, took a long time to list the XRP token. At the time of me making this video, they still not have listed the XRP token, but I said this many moons ago for those who were actually watching my channel for that long. I said that the Coinbase team probably desperately wanted to list XRP on their platform, and as it stands right now, they have announced at least a couple of weeks ago at the time of me making this video that they were going to add, potentially, maybe, they said, fingers crossed, don't know, we can't tell you for certain, that they were going to be adding the XRP token. I still believe that they are waiting at the time of me making this video. I know you're tired of that phrase, I'm tired of saying it, that they are going to probably list Cardano and Stellar, I assume, before the end of 2018, and that's when all the other coins kind of come in. I'm fairly certain that they are going to list XRP on their platform, but the people who will get the short end of the stick, or the people who will not benefit from this, are people within the United States, because, once again, like I was just saying, the people from the SEC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission, have still not given proper clearance or clarification if the XRP token is indeed a security and is something that they have jurisdiction over. The point is, I am going to assume, my own opinion, that they are definitely going to list XRP. I think they're going to batch list XRP, meaning about 10 coins at the exact same time, to try and downplay this. If you notice on their platform, they've been adding a whole bunch of other coins that are also relatively low in value. I think they've been trying to make sure, or downplay, I'm not exactly sure how much they don't like XRP. It's a little suspect when you don't list the number 2 coin. The moment that we get, and I would love if this happened around the same 6-day period, not even a week, if we got news that Coinbase was going to officially add XRP, and then Binance announced that they were going to list XRP as their base pair, I think the sky's the limit at that point. When XRP is listed to the Coinbase platform and we have a major on-ramp, a lot of people who try to get into the cryptocurrency space, they tend to, especially at the moment, just to use Coinbase, or depending on any other major platform that might be in their country. For now, for the sake of argument, we're going to use Coinbase. It's also been announced that the Binance team is looking into using, or adding rather, fiat pairing to their platform, i.e. you will be able to pay in paper money and send them so and so and so, blah, 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 to be able to buy cryptocurrencies. When that happens, I'm going to make a wild prediction. How do I say this? I think it is then very possible for XRP to 10x where it was in 2017. And that's not me trying to boast about it. That's not me trying to say how cool XRP is or what I hope it's going to go to. The amount of infrastructure that's being built around this is going to be absolutely insane. For those who don't know, for those who weren't here, this was many moons ago, when the cryptocurrency market was going crazy in 2017. I'm originally from the States, do not live in the States. I heard news from a lot of my friends that wherever they went, whoever they spoke to, everyone was talking about this new cryptocurrency craze and how to get into it. Do you know the number one coin that people were talking about in the United States, about how to buy it, where they couldn't find it? Does anyone know where this coin is? How do I buy this coin? At the time, people were calling it Ripple. How do I buy a Ripple? Where can I find a Ripple? Everyone knows now that the coin is called XRP. When they list it, I think it's going to be game time. And one of the main things about the cryptocurrency space is that, most importantly, your coin has to be used. Your coin has to be show some type of utility. It has to, you can't, I'm not pointing at any other coins. I'm really not. And I've said this before in the cryptocurrency space, it's go time. It's time to go. When we have another bull run and when prices are completely going insane once again, it's going to be the coins that are actually being used on a daily basis that are going to have the highest amounts of volume. Once again, all these institutions, all these companies, all these banks, and potentially even dozens of banks who are going to be using the XRP token. In my opinion, when I tried to look for price predictions as far as the price of XRP in 2019, the most conservative one that I could find, was $10. In my opinion, 2019, I think $10 is going to, once again, this is all if and I have to say if because no one knows the future. It says if we have a bull run in 2019, which I personally think that we will, simply because of the infrastructure that's been built around the entirety of the cryptocurrency space, as far as space for institutional investors, custody solutions. Like, I think we have done, or rather people in the cryptocurrency space who've been building all this stuff have done very, very well. I think we're going to pass by $10 incredibly easily. And I think I would like to say anywhere between a $25 and a $35 XRP is fairly certain. I think, once again, hit 360, breeze in the park, and that was just based off of hype. $10 after actual usage, we have more than there's more of a 3x of people who now know about XRP and who are going to be able to buy XRP when they want to. When we have actual utility and dozens of banks using this token around the world, I'm one to say possibly $25 XRP is definitely within reach. I want to give you guys like proper, like I wish I could talk about like 2020 and like 2025. I think that at a certain point, XRP will definitely, in my opinion, hit a 3-digit number. For those who don't know as well, I also don't have the tab up in here. XRP, whenever it's used and flowing through the network, a portion of it is actually burned as a transaction fee for sending things back and forth. And when we have an enormous amount of people and institutions sending hundreds of millions and potentially even billions of dollars around the world using this token, a large amount of XRP is going to be burned in the supply that there ever will be. There was 100 billion made, and it's constantly less every single day because it's constantly being burned as transactions are going through the network. I think a lot less XRP is actually going to be out there, and a lot more XRP is going to be burned, which will also cause another spike in price as more adoption ends up happening. To kind of address the gigantic digital elephant in the room, for those who, I'm going to quickly go over this, not to give it too much attention. It's been quoted before by certain people in the cryptocurrency / Ripple / XRP community that at some point it is believed that the XRP token will be worth $589. A lot of people predicted that for this year. I'm going to say in my heart of hearts, I do not believe that XRP is going to hit $589 within the next 5 years. That's just how I personally feel about it. A lot of the news that we had at the end of this year, which would then also slide into 2019, was that the mass adoption would kind of, this is also once again because in this summer, what did everyone think? That the prices were going to go up. So everyone thought if we had another bull market, and all of this kind of came together and formed Captain Planet. I don't think that's how you form Captain Planet. That the price would completely explode and we would hit 589. I think it's fairly safe to say that during a massive bull run, XRP will probably safely hit 25. And I want to say if we have major banks, and this is where it kind of all comes together, if we have major banks who are going to be using dozens of banks, and we need 3 major names, like 3 proper major everyday household. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they're using XRP names. I think we definitely will be able to hit anywhere from a $50 to $100 XRP, if not by the end of next year, by the end of 2020. Once again, these are all my opinions. I can feel the hate on the other side. I've never heard so much teeth sucking and eye rolling on the other side of a camera, on the other side of a computer screen that I can't even see. I can feel the hate seething. But logically, it does make sense if I try to give very realistic numbers. And it comes down to any cryptocurrencies that I'm talking to, especially since, at least at the time of me making this video, that prices are down so much. I think it's fairly safe to say at least that XRP will hit 360 again. I think that's all but a given. If it goes below 360 with all of this, that's called manipulation and we have to stop it. I think $10 is definitely possible. A lot of this comes down to, and I guess the easiest way of saying it is like a bull run. We've had such a tremendous year with Ripple and the XRP token that we need at this point just for adoption to happen. A lot of the things that I've spoken about have been announced, but simply have not come to fruition or been activated simply because nobody wants to, what's the saying? Nobody wants to be first, but nobody wants to be last. So everyone is waiting for the crypto market to go up. And this is just what I could remember. This is the things that came off the top of my head. I'm at least missing 15 other tabs up there without a doubt. And this is also the stuff that we know about. You have to understand, when these companies give out information is usually after a non-disclosure agreement has ended. So I can only imagine at least 15 other, in my opinion, myself, at least 15 other companies around the world are in some way or shape or form going to be using the XRP token, but we simply don't know about it because they don't want to release the information while the market is down. I think 2019 is going to be an absolutely phenomenal year for the entirety of the cryptocurrency space. I think XRP is going to surprise a large number of people. For those who weren't here during 2017, last thought, XRP started the year at less than 1 cent and ended the year at $3.60. It's fairly safe to say a lot of people underestimate it simply because I don't know if it's they don't like making money. I don't know if it's they just don't. They were fed falsified information years ago about what Ripple and the XRP token does. And I've tried to discuss this with many other people before. Simply, it comes down to a lot of people are anti-bank. I get it. I got it. I'm good. I completely understand it. I would rather have if banks are going to be around for quite some time, which I believe they will, if we are going to have a banking system, wouldn't you rather have it with an with a token such as XRP that is more or less transparent, and you can actually see who is then responsible should we have another banking crisis? As it stands right now, the banking situation that we have around the world is not very transparent. But what if we had a system that was being built around cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, that we could see the people who are directly responsible for the destruction of the financial system, and it came down to them simply using Ripple products and using XRP, as everything is on the ledger and we can kind of tell exactly who's doing it. This is kind of the way that I see things. A lot of people have their own ideas of how the future will shape, or what the future is going to be. I personally believe the Ripple team, for those who've watched my other or have not watched my other Ripple videos, maybe find them, maybe look through them a little bit. The Ripple team has formed an immense amount of partnerships. There was also news a couple of months ago that they actually pretty much have partnered with the country of India. Type in on Google or wherever you search for your stuff, type in like Ripple India or like Ripple India office or like Ripple India donation or something like that. There were two things that happened during this summer. And once again, that same exact time frame, it was that the Ripple team, they went on a panel in India and they were talking about the future of banking, and somebody on their team, the Ripple team, let it slip that they're actually already working with half the banks in India, and those banks in India are going to be using their products. And then something else also slipped sometime around the same exact time frame, where the Ripple team had actually had some type of communication with the Indian government, and they were actually going to give the XRP token to everyone living inside of India. If you look or any other information, I think they're also very friendly with the with Japanese banks, with the Japanese country. No one has really entered China because it's China. They've done a lot, and I think people underestimate them. But at the end of the day, like I always say, it's imperative that you do your own research. When XRP, in my opinion, does go up, if you have not chosen to profit from it or make money, that's kind of just the way that it goes. I see the long-term prospects from it. I saw the prospect of XRP and what they were going to be doing in the Ripple team very early on, and I'm trying to tell you, or hope that you do your own research into what you will also then find out exactly what they're doing. Like I said, in another video that I had just as many tabs, and it pretty much spoke about all the partnerships that the Ripple team has. It's jaw-dropping. Like, you don't get just how big that they are and how big that they're going to be until you really realize the news that's out there. Once again, why I love the internet. All the information that you could possibly need is out there. And even then, that is not all the partnerships that are out there. These are just the ones that they have allowed us to find out about. Alrighty, everyone. That is definitely, without a doubt, going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Make sure to do your own research. This is going to be major, in my opinion. Please make sure before you put a dime into the cryptocurrency space that you do your own research and you find out what all this stuff is that I'm talking about. But yeah, thank you once again, and I'll talk to you all soon. See you.